Welcome to the latest episode of Making Sense.
Hey everybody, this is your girl Teresa.
Erica.
And it's Keelan.
We're so excited to have you back on our episode. This month we're talking about finances. We talked last week about checkings and savings. And today we're going to be speaking a lot about investment.
Yeah, so today we have John Hamric here with Hamric Wealth Associates, and he's going to be explaining to us what investing is and what a 401k is and just some basic questions like that. So John, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and then tell us a little about your business.
Okay. Thanks for having me. My name is John Hamric of Hamric Wealth Advisors. I'm a financial advisor here in the Clarksville area. I'm actually a Austin P alumnus. I'm also a military retiree, got here in 2003, kind of just fell in love with the area, never left. Once I retired in 2015, I got the proverbial day job, and then one day I woke up and it was time to do what I was truly my second passion in life outside the military, and to do financial advising and planning, something I always wanted to do. So went through that process, getting all the licensure, and now I'm a financial advisor helping anyone and everyone that wants to better their life in the local area with their future and their eventual retirement.
Oh, cool.
Okay, so first of all, let's just start off with the basics. So what does investing actually mean?
Okay, there's a lot of different definitions of investing, and most people think of it in the stock market terms of I'm investing in stocks, but it really is a very basic term of you're putting your money to work to get a good outcome. There's Clarksville's growing. You can invest in real estate. The main idea between investing and to say trading is your duration of time. So if you're investing, you're putting your money into a stock, commodity, bond for about a year or longer, looking for a long-term growth rather than maybe the person that just buys a piece of property here in Clarksville and then they sell it next week to someone else, where that's more of a trade flip. But yeah, about a year longer in stocks, real estate.
What, you said commodities and bonds. Do you want to explain what that is?
Yes, they're all elements that what make up the stock market. The stock market is a collection of stocks of major corporations here in the U.S., but subsectors of the stock market are commodities, and that's oil, gold, soybeans, pretty much everything that you use for daily living, natural gas, are commodities. So they can all be traded. They don't really get talked about because we're in the world of Amazons and the FANG, Facebook. Yeah. But the commodities are the oil, gas, silver type things.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what types of investments are available to the average person? Because we don't really know exactly what to invest in.
We live in a very good time because of technology. Just the fact that we're doing this today and not some elaborate sound room tells you where we've come with technology. 30 years ago, you had to call someone to do literally anything and everything that you wanted to do whenever it came to investing. But now you can do pretty much anything that a major brokerage on Wall Street can do. So that's buy individual stocks, that's buy mutual funds, which I think most people are familiar with that term. And then you can buy ETFs, which are called exchange-traded funds. And basically, they're like mutual funds. They're just traded a little differently. And an ETF is basically a basket of stocks. So it allows you to do all of those types of things at your fingertips. One of the only limitations that individual investors have these days, from what you would see on TV about what all these traders do, is it's harder for individual traders to get involved with what they call an initial public offering, an IPO. And what that is just like you have Ravenwood Coffee. Right now, it's a private company, but say one day, whenever you hit the big time,
please,
and you open up your national franchise, you're going to need funding, and at that point, you're going to take it to a major bank, and they're going to do initial public offering, and then that's when it gets put out onto the stock market, and people buy shares. So individual traders can't do that type of stuff, But whether it's buying individual companies, whether it's by whole sectors of the economy, you just want to stay into, just say, electronics or just technology, or invest in foreign markets. Right now China's probably not doing so well. Might be a good time to, if you wanted to invest, overseas. There's all kind of options that individual investors have. It's just a lot of times it's the education of knowing how to get there. Because, as a society, we're in a generational shift. And, we all grew up, most of our parents, you don't talk about money. There's a fear about talking about money. And so, people always say, hey, we don't talk about religion and politics. That's not really the truth. We don't talk about money because, you never want to go.
True.
You never want to go up to grandma and say, hey, how much money you leaving me, or how much money do you have? Because those are the taboo subjects. And so what happens is we never get taught that. And then whenever it comes time that we're college bound and we're out on our own, how many classes have you ever had on, balancing your checkbook?
None. Absolutely zero.
Or, this is how you should invest in your 401k. This is what a 401k is. I mean, maybe in a glimmering, class somewhere, but it's just really not talked about.
Well, since you mentioned that, can you just talk about what a 401k is or an IRA?
Yes. A lot of times all these terms get used. IRA, 401k, 403b, 456, whatever. All these acronym soups, that type analogies are out there. All they are is tax strategies for retirement. And what I mean by that is, as a private citizen, you want to invest in your retirement. That would be an IRA. If you want to, and then you have a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. But then through your employer, you have a 401k plan. And that's either a traditional or a Roth. And I can go as far into that as you want me to. But basically, it is tax-sheltered money that you invest now. And 40 years from now, when you get ready to retire, it comes out the other end pretty much tax-free to help subsidize your retirement.
Okay. So do you want, in as simple of terms as you can, explain the Roth IRA and the other one you said?
Oh, yes. There's a traditional IRA, and that's been out for, it was probably like the initial IRA that came out, where just say you made $50,000 and you wanted to invest $2,000 a year into your retirement account. You could get a tax deduction on your taxes every year for contributing to your IRA. And then, some time ago, a decade ago, they came out with a Roth IRA, which means that you wouldn't get the tax deduction. It would be post-tax dollars on your paycheck. And then while it was in your retirement account, all that grows tax-free. And so then you get that money on the way out, and then you only pay taxes on the gains. And so it's a much easier, for long-term investors, it's an easier way to go. And I would say 90% of America does the Roth IRA. Now, if you translate that to a 401k plan, it's the same idea. It's a traditional 401k or a Roth 401k. Sometimes folks get mixed up into the 401k, IRA. They're all the same thing. The important thing is staying within the same tax structure of traditional or Roth.
Okay.
So as long as it stays in that same tax structure, you can move money from one place to another. So, and the point, the so what of that is, if you change jobs, you think that 401k is stuck there, or no, it can get rolled over into a Roth IRA because you're no longer with that employer. You've kind of moved on. So you move it into a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, whatever the case is. And then it's a way to keep a stabilized portfolio long term, because you don't want to have 10 different investment accounts out there. When you're 25, you've maybe had 3 or 4 jobs. When you're 40 and you're on your 10th career in your life, then you have all these different funds. So that allows you, once you leave a job, it goes from 401k to a Roth or a traditional IRA, and then it just, you just kind of consolidate your portfolio, and it's easier to navigate it and control it.
So how would you get started in the investment process?
That's a very good question, and I've gotten that question. I get it all the time, I guess, as a matter of fact. It's kind of what I alluded to earlier, that most folks just have no idea where to start because they've never encountered a financial advisor. You just don't talk about money. And it's talking to someone like me, it's really that simple as, where are you at today? Where do you want to be? And how to get there? And I think, whenever you watch TV and you see these commercials of these major firms, folks are under the belief that you have to be successful. You have to be in the business world for 20 years to get started. You really don't. You just have to want to get started. And, that's the challenge, is most people just don't know where to go. So it's finding the right fit, to have someone that is willing to talk to you. And I guess I might be getting ahead of myself of whatever you might ask me. Is there's a lot of different firms out there today, and some firms, they have like their house minimums. Hey, you have to make $100,000 a year. You have to have $1 million to invest before I'll ever talk to you.
No.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't have that.
Don't have that at all.
Oh, absolutely. The accredited investors, everybody values their time differently. But there are firms out there like mine where, as long as you want to get started, because everybody has to start somewhere. I guess as a personal aside, I grew up in a very small, poor coal mining steel mill town. So, I've definitely, for wherever I'm at in life, I've gotten to the other side of being successful, and so it's part of that's giving back. And so I've started people that have $50. Every time they invest, it's $50. But the guy's a truck driver. He's married. He has a daughter. He wants to better himself. And why not get behind someone like that wants to better themselves, and they just don't know how, there's no other way for them to do it. Now, you can always call whatever random securities, company and invest $50. But if you ever call, they will answer the specific question that you ask them about that money that they have, but they will not help you in any other way. So there's always a trade-off between just randomly investing your money in a random fund with X company, and then having a financial advisor that's actually there to answer your questions and help guide you at different stages of your life.
And I will say, I personally invest with John, Dude, and I. We started, I don't know when, maybe October? Is that?
That sounds about right.
I can't remember. Okay. But we actually do, our goal is to do $100 a month that we send, and it makes it super easy, but it's also not like automatically taken out. We usually text him and be like, hey, you can take the money out, and he just does it. And it's not like we definitely 100% have to give him $100 every month. If something comes up one month and we can't do it, then it's cool. Yeah, so I really like how it seems more personable than if I were to call some random investment company. They would probably be like, no, we need our money. I don't care that you broke your leg and have to pay medical bills or something. So I really appreciate how it's more. So
I'm an economics teacher, right?
Okay.
So one of the things, one of our textbook definitions of investing is always invest in something that is going to be here for a while, like industries like telecommunications or pharmaceuticals or education. Would you agree to that? Invest in those industries?
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with those industries, but I think you have to have a very well-balanced portfolio. And so in different funds that I invest my clients in, there's 5 or 10 different sectors that they're invested in. So education, there's nothing I mean, we're going to be, teaching at colleges,